Coming to you from an old warehouse under a full moon.
The lore.
It's the little podcast of horrors with James, Kristina, and Chris.
Her voice scared me that time.
It did, didn't it? Welcome to episode 2 of Little Podcast of Horrors. I am Chris.
I'm Kristina.
Yeah, I'm James.
That's your cue, buddy.
All right. So I have the story this episode. And last episode, we went for more of a paranormal vibe. So I'm going to completely do something different. And we're going to do a true crime. So
Sweet. True crime.
Since this podcast is all about the unknown and unresolved, spoiler alert, this is an unsolved case. So don't get your hopes up.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So this is the story of the Hinterkaifeck family murder. I won't get into any gory details. So, there are children involved. Just be aware, but I'm not going to do any gory, descriptive details of it. Okay. So fear not. Okay.
How long ago was this? Is there anybody left alive to offend?
No, I don't. They shouldn't be alive. They'd be in their hundreds. So, okay. So on March 31st, 1922. I love how she said
they shouldn't be alive.
I mean, people be living a long time. I don't know.
People live hundreds. You never know. It'd be like
this case took place 100 years ago, though, this year. So no, there shouldn't be anybody alive. All right. So on March 31st, 1922, a modest farming family and their new maid were gruesomely murdered on their estate outside the town of Kaifeck, Germany. So when I said Hinterkaifeck family murder, that's not the name of the family. That means behind the town of Kaifeck, basically.
Okay. It's like the location where it happened.
Right. It's more descriptive. Yeah. All right. So this is actually the oldest unsolved family murder in Germany. And it's sad that that's
unsolved.
Yeah. So anyway, the family included Andreas Gruber, who was the patriarch of the family. He was 63 years old at the time. His wife, Celia, who was 72 years old. Their daughter, Victoria, who was 35. And then Victoria had 2 children. Celia, who is 7. And I'm going to call her probably little Celia, so we kind of know who's who. And then Joseph, who was only 2 years old. And the last person was the family maid, Maria Baumgartner, who was only 44. All right, so the four of the family members were lured to the barn. Those were Andreas, Grandma Celia, Victoria, and little Celia. So they were all lured to the barn.
They were lured to the barn?
Yes. They don't know how. That detail is still unknown, but they do think that they were lured one by one, where they were savagely murdered with a mattock. And if you don't know what a mattock is, it's a hand tool used in farming. It has a long handle. It's got one end has a chisel on it, and the other hand, me, I'm here. And then the other end has a blade on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty metal.
Yeah. So those 4 people were killed in the barn. Then little Joseph and Maria the maid were killed inside the home, presumably after the other 4 were killed in the barn. So the last person to see all family members and Maria the maid was actually Maria's sister, who escorted her to the home for her first day on the job.
This was her first day?
Yes.
And she's brutally murdered along with the family.
Yep.
As far as first days go, that's
I've had some awkward first days, but
that's the worst one yet. Yeah. Okay. So the Grubers were known as a quiet family. They mostly kept to themselves. There were here's some tea, I guess. There were rumors of incest within the family. Victoria, the daughter, who was 35, she lost her husband in 1914 because he was fighting in World War One. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not a happy story at all.
I mean, no, it shouldn't be.
So although, they weren't big figures in the community, they kept to themselves pretty much. They did attend church and had a few friends nearby. Okay. So they weren't total recluses. So people started getting suspicious when little kid Celia did not show up for school. And the family didn't go to church that Sunday. And then the mailman actually noticed that nobody had brought in the weekend mail. So the neighbors were like, WTF.
Like, what is going on here?
Yeah. So 4 days after the murders on April 4th, 1922, a group of neighbors self-organized and decided to go over to the farm and look for them. So that's when the bodies are discovered in the barn. They discover those 4 individuals first. They were stacked atop each other and covered in hay.
At least it was neat, organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
So this is a really sad detail. So authorities actually believe that little kid Celia didn't die immediately. They think that she was actually alive for several hours after the attacks. And the reason why they think that is because she had clumps of her own hair in her hand. And I think she was pulling it out from stress. That's probably the grossest fact I'm going to tell you, or really saddest detail. Okay.
Really missing the giggling children right now.
Yeah.
Let's go back to last episode's
I bummed everybody
haunted
out.
tree of
No,
Rollicking
I mean,
Wonder.
yes.
This is going to be my job to bring everybody down.
I want to go back to last episode's haunted tree of Frolicking Wonder.
She's like,
and
last episode,
bask
she's
under its branches.
wonderful last time, so I'm going to make you guys cry.
Yeah. I hate happiness.
Uh,
Okay. So let's get to some strange facts about this, though. Okay. So,
strange fact, because
Great textbook
everything
so
else was
far.
pretty standard. Body stacked, hay on top, clumps of hair.
okay, but it gets weirder.
It gets weirder.
Okay. So, you know how I said Maria had just started, the
Yeah.
maid? That was her first day. Okay. So the original maid had quit because she thought the house was haunted. So she quit actually 6 months before the murders happened because she kept hearing footsteps in the attic.
Oh no.
Yeah. She also felt like she was always being watched. Andreas, I guess at the time when she was still there, told her that she was superstitious and he didn't really believe her. He kind of changes his tune though, because eventually he starts hearing the footsteps in the attic too. He also notices some other weird shit happening, including finding footprints in the snow leading up to the house, but no footprints leaving the house.
Mm-mm.
He found a newspaper in the house that he did not buy. And then a pair of house keys went missing. So he's like, what? He did look in the attic, when he heard the footsteps. He did go up to the attic. He didn't find anybody up there. So he mentioned this odd stuff to some of his friends, but he never actually reported it to the police.
That feels like that's reminding me of those stories where somebody's sneaking into the house and
Mhm.
living up. Like I've heard
Yeah,
of those,
living in the attic. Yeah.
I'm like,
There's
Man,
a case in the US that's like that as well. And
The
I'll
minute I
have to do
find-
that one because that one's unsolved as well. I could do that one too. Another
No,
bummer.
I say the minute I see footsteps going towards the house, but there's none leaving.
Well, and they're they're just
And you're hearing
constantly
them?
hearing footsteps.
I'm not gonna be like,
not just
"Excuse
one
that."
person.
I'm not gonna be like, that's nothing. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
You
And
could think,
yeah,
murdered in the barn.
it wasn't just one person hearing those footsteps either.
Yeah.
The maid heard him. Andreas did hear him. And then little kid Celia also heard footsteps too. So here's some info about her. So little Cecilia was found multiple times sleeping at school. So when her teachers asked her why, she told them that she had been up in the night looking for her mother because her mother wasn't in the house. They found her in the woods crying. And that's all the information there is on that. There's like no theory about why she would have been in the woods crying.
Sometimes you just got to go into the woods and have a good cry.
I mean, maybe that's it. And then, like I said, she was also hearing the footsteps in the attic. So that kept her awake most nights.
I'm like, are they not inspecting, like looking around the attic? Like, is there any way in? Is the window jarred? I would be securing everything because I'd be paranoid as hell.
Yeah.
Everybody's hearing somebody walking around the attic with, hearing footsteps in the attic. If you're going to go up there, make sure there's no holes. Inspect.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Andreas looked up there and he was like, I don't see anything. So I don't know if he ever went back up whenever anybody said that they heard him or...
I don't see everything.
One and done. Fine. No clue.
Footsteps, newspaper, and whatever.
It's totally cool. I got a shotgun. Okay, so a witness told authorities that after the date of the murders, he saw smoke coming from the chimney. And he claimed it had an awful smell. He also claimed to have encountered someone with a lantern, but was blinded by it. So he said, he encountered this person with a lantern, on the road next to their farm. But he was blinded by it, so he couldn't tell who it was. And he ran off, it scared him. Whoever it was scared him, so he ran off.
You know what we're missing is some old Scotsman on the side of the road who warns everybody not to go further down to the house.
I mean,
gosh, I just pictured The Simpsons, the Scottish guy from The Simpsons.
There's never any Scots in Germany.
Zombies! There, pretty as a picture.
No. I mean, the old, weathered Scotsman who warns passersby not to go down the road because of in Germany. What is your deal? There can be a Scotsman in Germany.
Why is it Scotsman standing there in the road?
Because it's creepy. Ergo,
it's creepy. Maybe
you gotta have a token Scotsman to warn passersby.
In Germany, we have I am so sorry for any German citizens or any Scottish citizens listening to this podcast and being like, that is the worst accent impression I've ever heard. I love you all, and my apologies.
Moving on from
doing the horrible accent I was hoping for.
I thought he was going to continue.
Nope, I'm done.
He's like, let me continue offending people. Hold on. Authorities obviously believe the killer stayed in the home for several days because of, the fire in the chimney, the person wandering around outside their farm with the lantern. Also, the animals on the farm had been fed and the cows had been milked.
Well, that's nice. Slaughtered the whole family, but let's make sure the cattle's all good.
Yeah, animal lover, I guess. They're part of PETA. And then food from the pantry had been eaten. So he was just I'm going to kill everybody and then hang out. So here's a weird thing. The autopsies were performed on the property. That part I don't think is that atypical for such an old case, but their heads were removed and sent to clairvoyants in Munich for examination.
Wait, they sent their heads to psychics?
Yeah, because they weren't figuring anything out. So when they did the autopsy, they were like, let's send these heads to clairvoyants and they'll be able to give us some good information.
So clairvoyants, isn't that a little late? That doesn't that defeat the purpose?
Well, clairvoyants can see the future. They can see there are some that can see the present, and there are some that can see the past.
By touching somebody's
I didn't
dead
realize
head?
that because it's I'm just imagining yes, these people are fated to die 10 days ago.
I just want to be one of those clairvoyants. I'm just going to eat
fee.
something that belonged to the victim. Okay. Get a box of mail. Oh, I wonder if this either shit.
Yeah.
I don't think they understood.
They were like, I just wanted to watch. I didn't mean this. This is too much.
You need something. Cut off their heads and send it to. Okay.
So,
Okay.
do we think anything fruitful came from that?
No.
Fruitful would be
Fruitful? I don't think they
the
got
operative word. I'm sure
I don't
something
think they
came
got
from
ahead.
it, but
in the case.
Oh, dad joke.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
nothing helpful came. You're right.
Nothing helpful.
Nope. Total waste of time.
Lost their
Big
heads
surprise.
for nothing.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Rest in peace, Gruber family. All right. So some of the conclusions here.
how do you mail a head?
I don't know.
I just want to be like the
You have to pay an
guy
extra fee.
who tells whoever, be like,
You just
Gunther,
go to the post office.
Gunther.
and-
I need you to cut the head off so we can mail it. What? Huh?
Then again, it is
You need a
like
what?
World War I era Germany, right? So
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like,
they were pretty hardcore by then, right?
it's like Gunther cuts the head off.
It's like, oh, again?
What?
Like hand delivered by the police, I guess. I don't know. Or they just went to the post office and they were like,
I got 3 boxes.
Here.
I got 6 boxes I need to mail. Is there anything breakable?
Aw.
That's just what I'm.
Yeah,
So
we make
could-
jokes, but this is a bummer.
Yeah, I'm making
Um,
jokes because it's a coping mechanism
So
for the
uncomfortable.
horror of this all.
Welcome to the little podcast of clinical depression.
Yeah. Where we make light of very serious, gruesome events. All right, so some further details. The police didn't suspect the motive to be robbery. Since all the
I think
valuables,
that's a given.
yeah, like no, typically robbers don't bust in and just kill a whole family. But no valuables or cash were taken, so they were like, it wasn't. Not everybody was killed for money. So, also evidence was sullied because the neighbors that went to look for them, and then subsequently, after they were found, neighbors would come and basically trample the scene. So, back then they didn't really like tape anything off or try to keep people off the property. They were able to just kind of
And
wander.
after all that effort to like neatly stack bodies and keep things orderly, here they come just trampling through.
Yep, rude. And they even cooked some meals in that kitchen too. So
What?
I was like, that feels hella disrespectful, but okay.
Wait, the people who came to look for them made meals and
I don't know.
Well, remember, this is just the neighbors, right? So it's just a bunch of neighbors. What are a bunch of neighbors going to do in one place for any reason? They're going to just make it a community gathering. So it's like, okay, well, we found out what happened here, but here we all are. It's like, let's not, make a total waste of this outing. Let's have a potluck.
Well, they also did the autopsy on property. So I wonder if they made meals for, the people working the scene
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
hospitality.
as gruesome as it sounds, it makes, I guess, sense, especially during the time.
Mhm. So, all evidence was trashed because of that. Police had no clue. They interviewed over 100 suspects. The last lead that was called in as recently as 1999. An elderly woman claimed her landlord had information about the murders, but he passed away before the authorities could follow up. So if he had information, it died with him.
Damn. Was it 22? So it's a little over 70 years. I mean,
I'm still kind of hung on the over 100 suspects.
Yeah, it's wild. They interviewed vagrants. They interviewed all the neighbors. I don't know. Everybody was a suspect.
I would imagine a crime like that, especially in, I would guess, a small village or town in Germany or anywhere would, cause some kind of a manhunt, because that's scary.
Yeah, but
You're just
the people who might possibly want to kill me, I can't even use up an entire hand counting, much less 100.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of people you've potentially pissed off.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they might have caused some enemies. I don't know. We'll get to a little bit more tea here later. So, but in 2007, a group of students from, okay, I'm going to totally screw this up. I'm sorry, Germans. Polizeifachhochschule, which is a police academy in Fürstenfeldbruck. Okay, so they investigated the murders using some modern tech. And they did narrow it down to a single suspect that they really thought was probably the person, but they never revealed the individual's name to protect his family. So, I mean, I don't think I suspected a woman did it, but his family. So, so somebody might know, but they're not telling anything. So the family members were buried without their heads because they were never returned from Munich from the clairvoyants. I don't know. Yeah, apparently they were lost in World War II, so like they were never retrieved.
Maybe they couldn't figure out how
find them.
Maybe they couldn't figure out how to mail them back.
Yeah, they were like, this is awkward, so we're gonna put this in our attic with the Christmas decorations.
What the? I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I'd be like, okay, we're sending the heads back. I'm getting nothing. Bye-bye. Like that head would be out the door in a box back, shipped away. And I mean, you said they're lost in World War II?
Yeah. So they held on to them for
decades.
Yeah. I don't know what they did with them.
Well, at that point, they'd be skulls. I mean,
thank you, Nazis, yet again for screwing something else up.
I feel like it was screwed up a long time ago.
I say,
You're holding on to heads for decades.
But especially, like at that point, they would just be skulls. Like after just a few years, I would imagine they'd just be skulls. I don't know the full decomposition process, but I would imagine, at that point, there'd be no tissue left, really.
Well, maybe they kept them in the fridge.
Or they mummified. I don't know. I'll have to look into that later.
Maybe they had a head fridge in their clairvoyant office.
Gross.
Oh, man, a head fridge. God. They're like, Peter, did you put your lunch in here again?
I mean, we've crossed the threshold. We crossed the threshold way back at just storing heads in the first place. Like the Rubicon has been crossed.
We crossed it when we were mailing heads. Going to the post office, shipping boxes. I'm like, did they tell them? They were like, hey, so don't freak out if this box starts to leak a little.
Oh, man.
Like, are you the postman? It's like, what's in this box? You know?
Ugh. Okay. If you're wondering what happened to the farm, it was partially burned the following year after the murders, and then it was eventually demolished, so it's not there anymore. One theory about what happened to the family is that basically an evil ghost or entity murdered the entire family. So
that sounds plausible.
That's like that is the leading theory.
I mean, he murdered the family. He fed the chickens and the cows. Had some food because ghosts eat.
Started a fire.
We don't bother with Occam's razor here in Germany.
Okay. So here are a couple of the main suspects. So, they had 100 suspects on this list, but here are a couple of them. They tried to pin it on two local brothers, Anton and Adolf Gump, but
Adolf Gump.
Yeah.
Let's just pause on that.
Okay, I'll pause.
And let that set in, because the visuals I'm getting are all over the place.
Mama said, "No, I'm not going there."
Run, Adolf, run.
Oh,
I'm not. There's a. Mama said that
everybody's thinking it.
Mama said that life was like art school, but I did not get in.
Oh my God.
Might cut that. I don't know.
We need to edit. We need to heavily edit this episode.
I will. It's fine.
We didn't lose them at mailing heads. It was the bad German accent that did the episode in.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, these people are hella disrespectful, just all over the place.
Although, as long as we're being disrespectful to Nazis.
Hey, y'all are the ones that chose to listen to a podcast titled Little Podcast of Horrors.
That's true. So we should leave
what you thought was going to happen here.
All this needs to be left in. Y'all had it coming. Okay, so they interviewed these two brothers, but honestly, I couldn't really find out information about them, so I don't even know why. And the same thing for this guy. It's like he was a farm worker, Peter Weber. He might have been associated with the farm, maybe that's why, but that's just a speculation on my part. That's not any fact. And then here's kind of a juicy one.
Juicy.
It's Josie.
I don't know if that's the word I'd go to after the head steak.
Listen, I have a way with words. Okay, just go with it.
I'm going.
So they think one of the suspects was a German serial killer who had committed a similar murder, actually in the United States.
Why did they start with that one?
Paul Mueller. Okay.
Like you've got a serial killer with the same MO on the roster, and like, no, let's go talk to Adolf Gump. That guy's fishy.
That guy's looking at me funny. We're gonna talk to Gump there. Get over here, Adolf.
It's got to be the teen farm worker, not the serial killer.
It's got to be that serial killer. He seems like a nice guy. He wouldn't do anything like this.
Here are some others, though. They suspected Victoria's dead husband, Carl Gabriel. So he was believed to have been killed in World War I, but the authorities were like, you know what? There was no body recovered. What if he came back and
There's a
killed
serial
everybody?
killer on the roster. We've pointed the finger at Adolf as like, it's got to be a ghost. Who else?
James, it's got to be zombies. Okay, zombie husband.
He's returned from the grave, and he's mad because his wife is, I don't know,
this is
moving on with
ace
her life.
detective work right here.
Yeah,
Who
okay.
said you could live at your parents' farm? You're supposed to be mourning me, you bitch.
Harlot. Okay, but remember, he died like 8 years before their murders, and she has a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. So.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Now I'm remembering what you said earlier.
Okay, so they quickly abandoned that though because they interviewed like fellow soldiers, and they were like, "Nah, bro, we saw him die. Like, please
dead.
don't try to sully his name with this family murder.
You didn't find a body because he was blown apart. He's dirt.
He's a damn war hero. Don't pull him into this."
I'd be mad too. I'm like, oh.
Remember when I brought up incest?
Yeah, I was about to say with the kids because they're 7 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
So here's where we go full circle. I don't know about Celia. This is about the 2-year-old Joseph. Okay. So he's actually rumored to be the son of Victoria and her father, Andreas. They had an incestuous relationship that was documented in court somehow and known in the village. So it wasn't really just rumors. Like, there's apparently court documents recording this. Okay. So one of their neighbors was also a farmer, and he is actually the person that he was the first person of that neighbor group that went to look for them that found their bodies. His name is Lorenz Schlittenbauer. Yeah, so he had apparently publicly claimed to be Joseph's father and paid alimony to Victoria and Andreas at one point. Shortly before the murders, this is kind of a quote here. Victoria was preparing to sue Schlittenbauer, who by then had a wife and a baby of his own, for alimony. But Schlittenbauer was part of the original search party that found the corpses, like I said. And he did disturb the bodies before the police arrived. So the police were really looking at him. But they weren't really able to find any concrete evidence linking him to the murder.
Yeah, they just got a motive.
Yeah. So that's the T portion of this really sad story with no conclusion.
It seems to me, yeah. All you can really, without any evidence, the only thing that you could at this point rely on is a confession.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and nobody's really going to confess to that.
you have a known serial killer who has the exact same MO, but who doesn't?
Well, did they have the serial killer in custody? Like,
I don't know. That I don't know. I'm assuming since they knew that
I just want to see a reenactment of this police lineup. It's like you got 100 normal looking guys standing among them is this dude just holding a knife up and blood all over his shirt, and I'm like, huh? So Gump. And the next they're like, well, it's got to be a ghost.
A ghost. It's a zombie. Okay, my best guess, like for that Paul Mueller serial killer, my best guess is that he actually probably went to the United States after these murders, was caught there and arrested. And then the police were like, hey, he was actually in the area at the time. So that is my best guess as to why he was on the list, but not actually, I don't know,
like
taken
pulled
in for it. Yeah.
You're like, hey, let's talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was busy in the States murdering.
Yeah.
Could have possibly done this murder.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the story.
I want to get to the like the dead husband theory. Like, are they just sitting in a tavern and be like, look, I don't have anything else. Like, they're just having a bunch of beers and they're just like, what if the husband's still alive? And he came back and just murdered everybody.
I just imagined us as the detectives coming up with that bunk theory.
I know. I'd be like, problem, crime, solved.
Case closed.
Case closed.
We did it. Nailed it.
Did it. High five. Like, no. Because where is he? I don't know. We figured it out. What more do you want?
They didn't find his body in World War I. Like, come on. Obviously, he's still alive.
Obviously.
Because they were notorious for being able to identify each and every body and get them home.
For reals. It's tragic. I mean, going into why kill a whole family?
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Like what goes through your mind that makes you decide, hey, this is a good idea?
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there's one thing that's still bugging me here. Everybody knows so little about what happened, except for this very oddly specific detail that one at a time was lured to the barn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who knows that it was done that way?
I don't think they technically know that. I think that's what they guess because...
And all I can envision is like, hey, Grandma, there's just some candy in the barn. She goes to look, and then just everyone's sitting in the room, and they're like, "Hey, kid, there's some
Wait a minute.
candy in the barn." And you just keep reusing that line, and everyone falls for it, and they all just go to the barn. I'm like, that was easier than I thought.
What if the neighbors killed them? Like all the neighbors came together to kill them?
Here's the thing: how many victims were there?
6.
6, but they're just looking for one person.
Yep.
Like. You have 6 people. Granted, 2 of them are kids.
Yeah.
Still,
Mm-hmm.
still, you have 4 able-bodied adults, but one person, like they believe, they took them out one by one to the barn. While, like, hey, we'll just stay here. We'll wait for you guys to come back. Okay, you stay. Like, and then
I don't know.
Where's Andrea? Where's Andrea?
It was Adolf
Andres?
Gump, the serial killer, and the ghost.
Oh yeah, dream team right there.
Yeah,
Or the serial
I
killer,
would watch that movie.
the ghost, and the undead husband. It just seems to me like if you're going to take out a whole family,
I don't want to leave Gump out of this.
Okay, and Gump.
Yeah,
You're gonna have more. You need more than one killer. Unless,
Yeah, because usually in those, if it's like a random person, they kill them while they're sleeping, so they can kill them one by one. Like that's an easy way to kill them all.
yeah,
But
that's
it was like during the day.
Which, I mean, maybe he did, or she did, they did. I don't know. Like, because like the minute you take one out, everybody else is gonna freaking run.
Mm-hmm.
So like they either need to be asleep or tied up, or you need to be killing them one by one without anybody knowing that's happening.
with a crazy, obscure piece of farm equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, all y'all line up. Single file. Okay, thank you.
But you said the daughter, they didn't believe the daughter had died?
Not immediately. No.
There's more to that. There's more to that.
Well, and they say, they said the matic is the murder weapon, but the elder Cecilia had like evidence of being strangled too. So
it almost couldn't be the one killer unless he was just high on PCP and hulked out.
Unless he got like one of them out there, like one kid went out to the barn for something, he ambushed them, and then somebody was like, well, I haven't seen grandma in a while, let me go look for her. And it just was like, what,
one by one. I mean, by the third person, like, 2 people have gone out to the barn and not
where is
back.
Everybody? Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't go out there and investigate. Hello?
Oh my God, yeah.
What's going on? I'm gonna go take a shower. Like, I don't know. It's like serial killer stuff. Yeah, it's you know what? Maybe it was a serial killer. I mean, it is one way or another, James, you're right. It's a serial killer.
How many was this? Oh, go ahead.
I was to say, how many kills does it take before you're considered a serial killer?
Well,
because you just killed 6 people.
Yeah, but not
all in one sitting.
Yeah.
And also the mode. I think it has to be like, I know I'm making that up. I don't know. I would think the way they do it is part of it.
Yeah, it's got to be like consistent. Like, kill a bunch of people this night, and then like sometime later kill more people.
Though, if it were the serial killer Paul Mueller, then why wouldn't that police academy name him?
Not enough evidence.
Because they were looking at ghosts.
That's
the police academy. That's in 2007. Okay. Remember the
2000
academy?
Okay, gotcha.
I mean,
narrowed it down to a person, and they wouldn't say because they didn't want to like expose the family or whatever.
Well, you need to have, if you want to prove it's a serial killer, first off, he's in the United States when he does these other killings. You've got to be able to at least place him in the country, like at the time of the murders.
Well, I know, but if that police academy actually accurately identified someone and it was Paul Mueller, you would say it was Paul Mueller, this known serial killer.
Yeah, because at that point you're going to be like, I don't care about the family. Everybody, they already know he's a serial killer. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So that's a good point, Kristina. So that kind of pretty much indicates they didn't think it's Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's somebody else. Oh man, now I want to know. I totally understand the reasoning behind not releasing that, and I support that. It's just curiosity. But
my guess, totally unfounded, that Lorenz guy, that was the only person that really had a strong motive.
Yeah.
And the neighbor.
I would wonder too, does he still have family in the area? Like, who are they worried about?
I mean, he had descendants, so you might want to protect those descendants. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that totally. But once again, we're just theorizing. We have no idea.
That is not truth. I'm just
we're just theorizing. Although, to be honest, isn't that what they're doing too? I mean, there's no evidence. They're
Germany police. If you need to bring in a consultant,
here's James.
I charge a fair
every episode. He's going to do this every episode. I'm going to tell you guys right now. He's just going to say it was gum.
I'm going to say it was the zombie husband did it.
That is a sad story, but thank you for all right. So that is the conclusion of episode 2. Tune in next week, October 18th of 2022 for our next episode. If you liked this story, please like and share. And you can also email us at littlepodcasthorrors
Yep.
at gmail.com. littlepodcasthorrors@gmail.com.
I'll also put it in the show notes. So
yeah,
just find it there real quick. All right. Cool.
And then put in the subject line, need consultants willing to pay.
It was Gump. Gump did it. Gump. And if also like if you know more about this story, please share. You can also email us at that too. If you have insight, if you live in Germany and you have more knowledge of this, please feel free to share it with us. We welcome it.
Yep.
So yeah.
And if I got any details wrong, definitely let me know and I'll do a correction in our next episode.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Until next time. Have a lovely evening, everybody.
Goodbye.
Later.